Good morning, good morning, good morning. One of the this is Nellie with Keller William Realty. One of the topics that I was asked to do was how do you get organized with your bills? So this way it will help you to put things in perspective, and once you have the visual of what you owe as far as your debt, because if it's visual, you see it and you're able to actually see where you're spending most of your money, and cut down on those expenses. Majority of the time, we actually, because of the use of the credit card, if it's a very thoughtless process to go to the store and swipe the card, and none of us really get a chance to review the bill, our spending. All we do is swipe the card, and at the end of the month, pay whatever we can towards the card. It allows that, as a lot of the credit card people who give out credit cards, like banks, credit unions, if their logo is it creates freedom, because you can still spend. They give you the credit to spend, so you can still spend but not really pay off. You can pay off at your leisure, at your flexibility, but in essence, while that's great, you tend to spend more than what you earn. And in addition to that, you don't really have perspective on how much you're earning versus how much you're spending on a monthly basis. And if you're the person that wants to save money, in addition to that, create a great credit score for your credit. Obviously, if you're in the market or you're considering to purchase anything or even rent, those are really important, because the banks look at it. A lot of times the landlords look at it when they run your credit. They want to know your story. Just like when you go to an interview on a job, they ask you for your resume, right? So the credit report tells a story. It gives a history of a person's background. What type of financial habit do they have? Do they pay off things on time, or do they are they behind on their payments? So that gives the landlord, draws a picture of you, in essence, will determine whether or not they want you as a tenant, or whether or not the loan officer wants to give you a loan on a mortgage. Because are you a high risk tenant / owner, or owner, right? So going through your finances is super important. Now let's dive in on how you can actually dissect and analyze on the things that you spend on. I would always advise to use your card instead of cash, and the reason being is because with cards you can actually track your spending. Cash, you can't track them. And then at the end of the month, what I would suggest you do, go over your credit card bill. You can export that for, I'm assuming that most of you guys that are watching this video, you have access to the Excel spreadsheet, and you're able to use the Excel spreadsheet. So I would export the CSV file onto an Excel spreadsheet and analyze that way. See where your spendings are, and see if you could cut down on the spendings. Now, I would, on the same exact Excel spreadsheet, what I would do, I would actually also include your paychecks, the paychecks that you have coming in every month. So this way, again, it puts you in a perspective, your earnings versus your spendings, right? And the other thing is to be on track with your payments with your bills. What I would do is every bill, I would lay them out, on the Excel spreadsheet, what what type of bill it is, when the due date is, what are the typical monthly payments there are. And every month I would have a column, and as to how much it is, when it's due, so this way based on your paycheck that comes into your bank account, when you can pay those bills, and you're not scrapping for money, and your bank is not overdrawn because of it. And if you're not an Excel user, the one thing I would then suggest you do is have those statements come to you in your mailbox, obviously, a hard copy. And what you can do is create a folder with the bills and the due dates right on them. So this way, when the paycheck comes in, whether or not it's the first 2 weeks of the month or the last 2 weeks of the month, and then you can put it in perspective. Now, the other thing what you can do, and a lot of the companies will allow you to do, is change your due date. So for argument's sake, you have a bill, you have all your bills due on the first of the month, and it's too overwhelming for you, and you don't have enough to cover all of those bills. What I would suggest you do, call your company, your vendor, whether or not it's utilities or credit card or whatever the case may be, and tell them that you want to change your due date to either the 15th or the 16th or the 17th, whenever you get your next paycheck. So this way you're ensured that you're covered, okay? That would be my tips for today. I hope this was helpful, and it's a lot to cover in one video, and I hope I will make more videos of this sort that will help you in the future to be organized with your bills, to be organized with your expenses, and hopefully get you on a path of saving money. Because a lot of the time, again, I'm gonna repeat myself multiple times, a lot of times we spend more than what we earn, and we always spend on unnecessary things. So if you constantly analyze your bills on a monthly basis, you get into a habit of seeing, okay, what spending do I do that is unnecessary at the moment, especially when you're trying to reach your goal of saving X amount of dollars, whether or not it's for vacation, whether or not it's to buy a home, whether or not it's to buy a car, or to have a cushion just in case, right? It's always important to have a savings, because God forbid, whether or not you lose your job or whatever the case is, you need to have that extra cushion. So I hope this helps. See you on the next video. This is Nellie with Keller Williams Realty. Peace out.